Let me say happy Monday morning to one and all. Hope all is well. Good morning to everyone also. Those of you listening to Classic Radio, good morning. Those of you viewing GBN TV, good morning to you also. Our social media audiences, good morning to you wherever you're listening and viewing. Welcome. It's to the point. It's Monday, the 26th day of January, 2026. Yeah. January 26th, within the year 2026. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, GT.
So it's 12626.
Yeah.
Another lot.
12626.
Another lot to play.
I'll leave it up to you.
Okay.
Since I mentioned the numbers.
So let me say good morning to you, GT. Good morning to the GBN family, and good morning to my colleague here, Richard.
Yep.
And to the rest of our followers, viewers, and well-wishers, supporters of the program.
All right, man. So everybody, how was everybody's weekend?
Good, quiet, restful.
What about you, GT? On New Year's for
I had a really busy weekend.
Yeah, busy.
I was in the Granatang area on Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was a really busy weekend for me.
Yes.
Really busy weekend. The road in Granatang. I've been in traffic there trying to get someone who was working with me in Glen and drop them home in the Paraclete area. And you know, you go there, they're working going on that me easy corner, just as you would refer to it, sir. And I've been in traffic for like 45 minutes.
Right.
Wow.
You imagine you parked there just like, well, I back up and I ain't busy.
Engine was off?
Engine off 45 minutes because they had an excavator working.
Mm-hmm.
And so they was not giving way to traffic either side. You had to just wait.
Right.
Until they lay the pipe, cover it, then they'd allow you to pass.
Was anything said on
I don't know
in the media?
But then when you look at and so after dropping it back, I didn't want to do this on David's route to come back. I said, let me come back Grand Tang. Mm-hmm. So well, at the time I was coming back, well, it was a little bit freed up, and then I saw on the opposite side now, on those who were going to the Grenville area, there was a backup of traffic from there all the way up to that top of Grand Tang.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
So could you imagine that?
I could imagine. I could imagine.
Yes, man. It was really, really good. I think something better could have been done in terms of, they did have individual with these stop and go signs.
Yes.
But I don't think Def themselves could have done anything because they had to wait until the excavator covers the road back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Before they could have allowed the traffic to move. Yeah.
And I think Richard was intimating about the information, whether or not it was announced or on their notices. I think it is assumed now that people should understand that you should expect delays in the Grand Tang area.
Yeah.
But it is not quite so. We've gotten so busy, so taken up in our own affairs that things we need to be reminded of that are important and that could affect us. I think we need to be reminded of it. I think that's why there is the traffic report on morning, and even more we should have consistently, even through the irregular means, through Facebook, social media, we should try to keep information
I
more
think
in people's face, reminding people,
Texas blasting
so you
off
can,
on a regular basis.
Yes,
alerting you, well, looking for the, especially the traffic department, they could take it upon themselves.
Right.
You know, I'm assuming they could get to people's numbers because you do give your number when you get your license and stuff. Just add it to a blast, as they would call it, and text everybody.
And as a matter of fact,
talk to the phone company or whatever.
Of course.
You know.
And if they do that a bit more, the information comes across, and the work people may not anticipate is a strong thing technically, because some people don't focus and they don't plan properly, so you don't foresee things that are likely to happen. But they might have prepared for completing a particular job within a given time.
Yeah.
They may have encountered a massive rock during the excavating that took more time.
Right.
So during that process, they can make a phone call and say, listen, expect undue delays and delays extending up to X time. So people can plan their way when they're coming from work. You know what? If you're saying in Granitang, you know what, better hit St. David's.
Easy to work.
And people will do that.
Yeah. But if they go off and
maybe expect things to be normal or otherwise and so on, they will continue to come, and then the frustration and the anxiety and the aggression and all that would come across. And I think a lot more could be done generally with the information process.
Yeah. Well, I will give you an example. Last Monday, coming here, got to Woolwich Road.
Mm-hmm.
That's roundabout by Transnemwell.
Right.
And I had to turn back because there was a sign there saying no entry.
And
that sign should have been out on Lotus Lane.
Okay.
But I think they did move it to Lotus Lane.
Later on.
Eventually,
It was moved.
But nothing was said in the media that you can't access Woolwich Road.
Yes. So I think we are agreeing that generally across the board that some people should be more on top of the game.
Yeah.
They should try to keep the public more engaged, more informed generally. And it goes right up to the highest level. There are a lot of good things happening state-wise and otherwise, and people are not aware of it.
Yeah.
Or they don't get the information sufficiently, and then the system and administration get criticized because people aren't aware of what's being done. And don't even to the lower levels, there are great things that are happening and people are not aware of it. There are things that can affect your lives or security and movement and food, etc. And people need to have more information. I think generally. we could increase that process.
I just think that the focus had a tendency to be diverted elsewhere more than other things, than the generalized things that would affect us on a regular basis. Sometimes we don't tend to focus on it a lot.
And I think priority or prioritization is relative or subjective to how some people put their own feelings. My priority may not be yours. And what we may figure should be a national priority, some people may not think it is. And what people may think should be priority 1 or 2, maybe 3 down the road. And so that's why the information processes and gathering and disseminating of it will help to really get the best priority that suits the majority. And sometimes we really wonder, well, when you see decisions being made on the road, what's happening with some of the things that impede the traffic flow. I say, really and truly, because as you spoke about the weekend, my weekend was kind of a cool, kind of a summer, but I still used the opportunity to go through and find some, see things. And I travel similar avenues like you do, and I went through the area St. Andrew Munlong again, and when I saw one of the bridges up there, I mentioned it, and somebody said, but that thing was on social media a couple of days ago, somebody spoke about it. I said, no, I'm not aware, because I wasn't on the island then, I guess. And I saw this bridge that was supposed to have been supposed to have been a temporary bridge, actually. And in the past, we had a bridge that collapsed and caused serious injury to then a police officer who was, I think, on a motorcycle and so forth, many years ago. But that bridge was placed there, and I think it's been enhanced, it's painted and everything else. The surface leaves a lot to be desired in terms of whether or not it's conducive to pedestrian. And you look at the connection between the edge of the bridge and the road, the asphalt itself, and you can see there's a space. I don't know I'm hoping that it is not complete, because where the asphalt and supposed to be connecting to the bridge itself, you can see the spaces, you can see pieces of asphalt removed from it, and they're not really connected. When you have these breakage and so on, I should have taken a picture of it actually, but when you have these breakage, you allow for seepage and moisture and everything else to happen, so it deteriorates and it affects the integrity of the structure. But not only that, I saw some of the wood, they were nailed through, others were screwed, and some of the nail and screw heads were protruding. And I'm not telling you, nobody told me, I saw it personally. That's not
a good situation at all.
It's not a good situation. I'm saying, how do we monitor quality and maintain quality throughout the construction, especially on our road surfaces, as we speak on road safety? That one, it's a disadvantage to road users, for pedestrians, for vehicles, etc. And I'm wondering, my limited engineering design or knowledge will tell you that if you're going to be doing something with exposed surface, particularly with pedestrians and so forth and motor vehicle, you want to countersink the places where you put the hole. Whether you do screws or nails, you counter it. You make a wider space than the head where the
flat surface of the wood itself.
Yes.
So it goes in.
So you send it further down, and you widen the top, and then you can base it.
Right.
And then you seal it off, so that the head of the screw or the nail is not at the surface of the wood or the metal itself. It goes into it, and you can level up the surface with something solid, maybe silicone or maybe polythene or something like that. So that would give it a harder surface, so you get that smoother run that you have, and so forth. I mean, and I was wondering why these things are taken for granted. it deteriorates the integrity of the construction itself, and it affects the quality of your vehicle and your driving. It distracts people on the road, and it affects road safety. And forgive me, but I had to really speak about that one.
You're correct about that. A few weeks ago, I saw someone make a Facebook post in reference to that same bridge you were speaking about. Someone did speak about that.
Right.
They were detailing all those flaws that you were speaking about.
Okay. So it's not coincidence.
It's not a coincidence. They were detailing those flaws, the space in between, the use of nails certain parts, screw certain parts. And he said, well, I'm going to the police if my tire gets punctured.
Oh, so that was mentioned too.
That was mentioned.
Right.
I did see someone via social media making reference to that. So you are correct in reference to that. But there was a conversation on Sunday in reference to the same Granatang area. Someone asking if there ever been an incident where, or a reason where the roadwalk and Granatang had to be closed off. And I can remember there was a reason for that. On that same area where they're working on now. Remember there was a few years ago that Granatang was not passable for a couple of weeks. Well,
yes.
That's when they were doing the wire mesh on
the mesh and that same area there. Sometimes and it was easy because everybody knew you can't use Granatang anymore.
So what you're suggesting that they should have closed
maybe
it
should close it off for a short while and get the job done.
And then,
I think it was a couple of years ago.
But it goes back again.
I think the Japanese were doing that work.
I can't remember who were doing the Japanese work, but it was closed off for a couple of weeks.
It was there
because I think they had some collapsing of the siding also. I think they had collapsed.
So you had done some slope stabilization in that area.
And also Constantine.
Yes. Slope stabilization project that was.
Well, Constantine was at least because you could have used the Boca Road to pass, but Granatang would say was closed up for a wee bit.
So the point that you're making about using diversion and so forth, it goes back to exactly the point I'm making. How do we project, how do we plan forward, and how do we analyze? What does the engineering information indicate? What does the science and the projection of traffic flow indicate in a particular area? Now, the time we're speaking of, there would have been less vehicles on the road.
Much less.
Much less. So,
couple hundred.
So closing off that road, then I'm hoping that was a consideration. That somebody would say, you know what, in consideration, we figure that we can have limited delay, consistent flow, however, to avoid too much a build-up on the eastern side of the island, or even on the west. So that's the main thoroughfare that we have, the central thoroughfare. So we don't want to close that totally because of the volume of traffic that's coming. And that, to me, would make some sense. Providing that it was analyzed in that kind of a way to say this is what we came up with in terms of the amount of vehicles we have, the volume of flow at a particular time, this is going to be. And then it goes back to also the time of day. I still don't understand why a lot of our effort is being focused on daylight and mid times, and people take it for granted as well that even on Sunday that you can work on Sunday. But Grenada has changed. A lot of people move on Sundays.
Yes.
So when you decide to even pave on Sunday, you keep me back as well. A lot of people move on Sundays.
Yes, so you're correct. So it's no longer there a time when people decide they're not driving anymore.
They're not driving anymore.
No.
And people feel weekdays sometimes they can't do something. They'll come out on Sunday to get it done. So Grenada has changed, and we need to be able to change as rapid as the time and dynamics happen to be going on, and to be more considerate. I think a lot. And I've heard some of our callers to the program speak about our planning and how we need to do and have more dialogue, and sometimes no disregard to our young intellectuals who just come from university and everything else and keen to implement their projects and so on, but it makes good sense to engage.
I agree.
Our persons who may have particular experience, and especially the locals.
Get that opinion. Even it may be a second or further down the line. Sometimes they may have gotten a second and a third opinion.
Yes.
But sometimes that fourth and fifth make a whole lot of difference than what the first and second may have.
A lot of that.
One consideration for Granatang, though, could be to close it off in one direction for particular number of hours.
Make good sense.
Per day. And then they open it back and
I agree. Because most of the time of the delays, that was like after 4.
Right.
So that's a time when everyone is coming home or going home from work, who may be coming from St. George's to Grenville.
Right.
Or vice versa, will be coming from Grenville back to St. George, and you imagine that delay between for the time.
Well, I saw somebody one time.
About 45 minutes.
Yeah, somebody one time they had to wake them up to come because the person fell asleep, switch off, and then people honking their horn, and man decided, well, I'm going to take a rest because it's the norm.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, that being.
I think sometimes I just think the consideration needs to be given. I think folks who are in charge or in the supervisory position of these jobs within, I'm assuming the Ministry of Works and so they're involved to a point.
Yes.
You understand? So they should give some consideration. Hey, this could occur, knowing the level of traffic that controls this areas from time to time.
Yes.
Give it some consideration.
So GT, this is a long.
I'm just allowed to go.
This is a long intro. We had to give the flowers till we go to the next segment.
Yes, let's give those flowers. We take that break we take that break at 9:30.
Okay, great. So, I wanted to give some flowers to some of the unforgotten economic pillars and income managers and finance managers in the island, and that's the customs and excise people. It's not very often they are loved individuals. Yeah. Customs, excise, and the Port Authority, and people don't speak about them a lot.
Yes, you're right.
And they are strong, silent pillars of the economy. And if you look at what is keeping our economy going, the trade issues. Yeah. Well, we had different issues with trade and tariffs and all of that throughout the globe and throughout the Caribbean. But when you look at the work that the customs and excise they are doing in maintaining and keeping this flow in our economy and so forth, we need to really commend them.
I agree. Yes,
we need to give them, tap on the shoulder and show some love to them and say thank you a lot. They often not love. People cuss them and say, you're digging up my barrel and all the tax all they putting on me. And
sometimes you do meet them and not in the best of moods.
When they're not in the mood, but they still do. yeah, I know. But we still, I want to shout out the comptroller and some of the supervisors and some of the regular flow members at some of the bond warehouses and or ports of entry, and they do a considerable and professional job most of the time. Yeah. And I want to big them up and the Port Authority this morning, Mr. Evans and so forth, and the team. Yeah. I didn't have no real engagement with them recently, but I just thought I saw a group of them. I was at a funeral a couple of days ago, and I saw some of them showed up and everything, and they were professionally displayed and giving the support to a comrade who had passed and everything. And I said, these are some people that we really don't give enough shout out and thank you. So this morning I'm going to really say thanks.
I would agree with you on that. I agree, because they are the ones that help you to get your things flowing quickly. Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes there are challenges that come across with you on them, depending on the nature of whatever has occurred. But as you mentioned, they don't always get the love that they should get.
And they're law enforcers, and they help. And they keep the bigger part of our GDP.
I must say that there has been a lot of improvement in the functions. Yes.
I mean, when you go to play a barrel,
it's much easier now than it was before.
Yes,
I agree.
And people have to respect too that they are guided by laws, principles, and they need to do.
So they're not just doing their own thing. Sometimes we get that impression, they're not just doing their own thing. They do what they are told to do.
And we need to show them the respect when they do their food.
So don't complain when they take everything out your barrel. They were told to. That's what they needed to do. All right. So I guess we'll take that break. Let's take that break, folks. We'll be right back. Stay with us, folks. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back. Don't touch it out.
My name is Dr. Abigail Noel, and I am the head of department at the Accident and Emergency Department. One thing I love about Mount Sinai is their spirit of collaboration. They came in with ideas that have transformed our department in real time. The implementation of ID bands for every patient that comes through the emergency department. That has decreased patient errors. They have implemented defibrillators on every ward. Thus far, 128 staff members have been trained in defibrillator use. The huddle system is basically small meeting with all team members. It improves communication between staff members as well as with patients. This transformation means everything to the emergency department and by extension the health system of Grenada.
My name is Lyselle Walcott. I am a staff nurse at the General Hospital for the past 16 years. At the Infection Control Department, we do surveillance for communicable diseases or hospital-acquired infections. We do outbreak investigations, So any issues we have, we would investigate it, find out the cause, and we would do recommendations and interventions to all relevant departments. Thus far, with Mount Sinai, we are looking at ways of improving hand hygiene. Hand hygiene has been proven to be one of the most important practice you could do to break the chain of infection. Working along with Mount Sinai, I foresee that it would be a very good thing for us. They are looking into the products that we use, the practices that we do. Going forward, we'll be able to achieve a very high level of compliance and safety across the board for everyone.
Can tertiary education drive Grenada's future growth? Find out Monday on Beyond the Headlines. We sit down with Dr. Marius Lucas, president of SGU, and Andrew Abraham, principal of TAMCC, to explore how higher education is shaping our nation's development and opportunities for the next generation. Have your say. Call us live at 440-1252 or join the conversation on Facebook, GBN Live, and the YouTube Grenada Broadcasting Network. It's Beyond the Headlines. Don't miss it. Monday, 8:30 p.m. Hosted by Colin Dow. Can tertiary education drive Grenada's future growth? Find out Monday on Beyond the Headlines. We sit down with Dr. Marius Lucas, president of SGU, and Andrew Abraham, principal of TAMCC, to explore how higher education is shaping our nation's development and opportunities for the next generation. Have your say. Call us live at 440-1252 or join the conversation on Facebook, GBN Live, and the YouTube Grenada Broadcasting Network. It's Beyond the Headlines. Don't miss it. Monday, 8:30 p.m. Hosted by Colin Dow.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again. It's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. We have Mr. Sylvan McIntyre with us. We have Mr. Richard McPhail with us this morning also. And we're going to switch into our feature conversation this morning. We started it actually last week. And, of course, it's one of those conversations, Mr. McIntyre, one of those topics, I would say, too, that we may have to have about 3 or 4 sessions in it.
You're right. Definitely right.
And how we approach it from time to time. We're talking about defensive driving.
Yes.
And we expanded it a whole lot last week in terms of we talk about different ways in that folks should know when they're driving defensively.
Yes.
We spoke about a lot of that. We want to tweak it a little bit this morning and talk about looking out for others in defensive driving. How could that be applied? Someone may ask a question. Defensive driving, how would it apply looking out for others?
Right. So looking out for others in local parlance would be, as we would say, driving for you and for others.
Yeah.
All right.
That's technically what it is. But in defensive driving, when one is behind the wheel and you're on the road, you're not just driving for yourself. Yeah. And I'm afraid there are a lot of selfish drivers who just do things and they figure, well, I have the right of way and I will go right away, regardless of.
Oh, I drive in the middle of the road.
I will drive in the middle of the road because, and they will tell you if you drive in the middle of the road anyway, that the middle of the road have more space. That when you see something, you just pull to the side because you get more space in the middle of the road. That's what some people tell, and they'll tell you that is defensive driving. But the angle that we want to take in terms of anticipating the action of others, a lot of accidents are prevented if we anticipate that some things will happen. And we want to touch on a few of them this morning that sometimes we take it for granted and we don't really understand that these things are likely to happen. One, you're driving behind a vehicle and it's almost obvious that there are times that one of them going to stop suddenly.
They would have to stop.
Without notice.
Of course.
Somebody going to step on the brake. They're going to not just press the brake, they're going to stamp on the brake. And you, if you're not driving, as we mentioned in the program before, to save distance, you're going to run into them and you're going to have an accident.
But due care attention steps in there also.
And due care and attention, driving without due care and attention will also come in there, right? And so that's one of the things we have to anticipate while driving along, that somebody will stop suddenly. Maybe not because of their own action or something that happened in their vehicle. It could be something else that may have happened.
Somebody step into the road.
Somebody run across the road.
Yeah.
A child may be across the road, and there might be the need for that sudden stop. So one of the things one has to consider in defensive driving is to always assume that somebody is going to stop suddenly and you're likely to run into them. So you must maintain a safe distance at all time and look out for when that red light is likely to come on, or that person just stop immediately in front of you. That's one. Another, as you drive along, there is a common thing. Areas may produce certain levels of risk, of vulnerability, or hazards. Once you are approaching an area where you understand their recreational activities undertaken, you must approach with more caution than usual. Anticipate that if you're coming down the Tempe Road, that somebody in that area going to kick a ball that will run across the road. What happens? In the case of a child, there's an old cliche that says, the person follows the ball.
Right.
Always assume
somebody's going
to follow the ball.
Yes.
So if a ball comes across the road, you must assume that it will be followed by somebody. If somebody did not come across, God save it.
Yeah.
But very likely, anticipate if a ball goes across the road. If something come across the road, whether it's a cricket ball, whether it's a football, you already know nobody cares for balls because you kick balls, you beat balls with a bat, you slam them in baseball and cricket and everything else.
Exactly.
So ball will be always getting licks and they will always like it across in areas.
Some abuse always takes place with the ball.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So you always have to assume that once you're driving in an area of recreational activity, that people or things are likely to cross. So you approach those areas with extreme caution. So anticipate that is likely to happen, that you're going to prevent somebody from getting hit and you're going to prevent yourself from hitting maybe another vehicle who may stop suddenly because that ball came across and they're anticipating that somebody's going to come as well. Yeah, you want to add anything?
No, I agree. 97% of the time,
great,
you see a ball and a child follows.
And that's
not always a child. Adults who
adults as well.
Adults who always run for the ball.
And you know, sometimes adults might do more stupid things than children.
Okay, you know, sometimes and in those particular vicinities, you know, you have to drive within the speed limits most of the times, or even under the speed limit if it's possible. Also,
yes,
you understand, because you cannot you know it's, as you mentioned, it's a recreational area. Something likely is going to occur in terms of because of the kind of games that are playing there. And you said folks will playing ball. It could be the incidents where also I see where youngsters themselves may just decide they want to do their own thing.
Yeah.
And just run across the road.
I mean, jokingly, there is a playing field in St. Patrick where cricket is often played, and some of the fielders have to field across the road.
In St. Patrick?
In St. Patrick.
The Plains or for?
No. In Montrose area.
Montrose area? Oh.
So they have to stay on the road to be.
I think there's one somewhere in Paraclete as well that is going to be. That's some, and there was one playing field over in St. David as well that. Up in the forest area, I think guys somebody will feel on the opposite side.
In Foley.
Yeah, so
Foley, right? But that is basically
they fix it now?
Off the road anyway. Foley is an area you drive in, right? Not
yes.
You drive in, but
and
the road is
and you can't tell. And when somebody hit the ball, they'll call out to the field and tell the ball is coming. So you had to look out because. But you're right. Yes. I think at non-parallel, I think
Foley is similar.
So the point is made. There are quite a number of our playing fields that are close to our roadsides, and so when driving along these areas, one has to be careful. Not just for somebody coming across, but even in cricket situation. I've known situations where balls fell on people's windscreen and broke it.
Yes. Yeah.
But have the authorities ever give a thought to that? You know, we have administrations coming and going in different folks in different sporting, ministries. In that particular area, do we think about probably erecting a fence high enough that will prevent the balls from going into the road? The thought and consideration, even not fencing the entire area, but maybe for that first 25 or 30 feet, there's always option where that ball is going to come that direction and come out to the road. Just a thought.
No, that's a good thought, and I think it's not maybe necessarily fencing, but you have nets.
Yeah.
The nets like you have in the massive baseball fields, or like you on the shot put and discus field, especially the discus area. You have these netted areas that maybe the discus doesn't go in angle.
Okay.
It falls within that netted area.
And
that could be some consideration. But I think the frequency of these events are not very much. So it has not pushed our state mechanism to go to that level of expense.
We know sometimes cricket is seasonal. Folks play on the season. Folks may play football, their game on the season, or maybe only on a weekend or something of the sort. Or if a school may be having some their physical education class and they decide they're going to play some football or cricket, then when these things may occur.
But I think there are definitely some areas where that should be considered, where the volume of traffic is more. And I mentioned Tempe, and I think Tempe is an area for sure. Is probably that's one of the areas.
The closeness to the road itself.
It's closeness to the road, and a lot of vehicles travels that area. You have schools and a lot of people that come through that area, and I think that's one of the areas you could consider. But thinking about it in a general sense, as we mentioned schools and other things, one of the considerations in defensive driving and anticipating the action of others is approaching school zones.
Yeah.
One of the things we mentioned on the program before is that we don't think that the school zones are very conspicuously identified. We don't think that the signs saying school zones are large enough, the font large enough or otherwise, and we think that there's absence of those and not sufficient recognition of these school zones. And I think more in protecting pedestrians, students in particular, anticipating the action of students and parents into school areas are some of the things that the drivers are supposed to do. But we must be able to channel drivers into thinking in that direction by putting up more signs further on that indicate to them that you are entering a school zone.
Well, that responsibility, of course, is on to erect those signs, especially in school zones. Who bears that responsibility?
In some cases,
is it the schools or is it the Ministry of Education? Who is responsible for erecting those signs to make people awareness that there's a school is in that particular area?
Anything that borders a roadway or road surface, the Ministry of Roads and so forth and infrastructure.
I guess it would be in conjunction with the Ministry of Education also.
They have responsibility for anything along road signs.
Roads
and road signs.
Yes, along with the police.
The police has implied responsibility for enforcement.
Right.
Police over the years have taken on the responsibility
of doing the signs,
which is commendable.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, the role has implied belonging now to the police, which shouldn't really.
The onus really is on the Ministry of Infrastructure.
Yes,
because I'm just saying the Ministry of Education, the schools themselves could they of course have that communication between each other.
As a matter of fact, you're not off. I think we need more conversations and collaboration, because Ministry of Education and even the schools themselves in the particular area should, and even the MCF or Road Safety Foundation, that are some of the things that we would want to be able to collaborate with in ensuring that we identify those risks and get resources that will help to put up signs that says you are approaching a school zone. One, you could include the speed limit that should be driven in those areas where people should drive at, and you should also indicate the crossings and so on. Pedestrian crossing, speed limit, school zone.
Yeah.
So that when that is in people's mind a few 100 yards down the street, but you see that 1, 2, 3 times, you know that 300 yards you're first told that you are approaching a school zone. When you get closer, you would see another one. That will tell you now. So if you missed one, you should be able to see the other one. Not repeating the many signs of roundabout ahead and so on 4 times, which carry less of a risk than a school zone, in my opinion. I think that's where the emphasis should be, and that's how we should, in my opinion, prioritize where the risks are. So you do your risk analysis and so forth, identify the hazards and the risk. It will tell you what kind of things you need to implement. And I think throughout our school zones,
I agree.
We need to write this up.
Okay. So, I totally
agree. We see it with the traffic lights. The warning signs that you're approaching traffic lights.
Yes.
Right.
The roundabout in Pitibakai, for example, you have about 3 or 4 signs saying roundabout ahead.
Yeah.
Before you actually get to the roundabout.
Right. And how close is that they have them?
Yeah.
But what hazard does a roundabout produce?
None.
You know, I like the idea when we went to the schools, because, you know, there's one school not too far from us. They're sure, you know, about, there's a sign that indicates you shouldn't be honking your horn between a certain time. Because, you know, it
Yes.
can be a nuisance to the school in there.
Right.
I mean, and that is a form of defensive driving, if you look at it in that particular way. Because you paying attention that, hey, I shouldn't honk my horn, at, you know, unnecessarily. If you
Right.
have to, you have to. Sometimes there are reasons that you have to do it in terms of causing that a disturbance to the school at a particular time of the day. You
Yes.
know, so,
The only thing I don't like about that sign, which is it is a good sign, it sends a message. It says no honking of horn. It is said don't blow your horn.
Yeah.
But do they have the right to tell me don't blow my horn?
Yeah.
I think the message should be sent, but it should be sent, in my opinion, in a different way. If you tell me don't honk my horn, I will just blow my horn because I want to be.
it was a DD5.
But if you say please, you know, refrain or otherwise, is it you're getting? I mean, the same thing you're trying to say.
During
I
school
understand,
hours.
but it's how it's presented to you makes a difference.
Yeah.
It just make it says, you know, like we had the authority to tell you don't blow your horn. You can't tell me that. I could use my horn anytime I want. You have to ask me or request of me.
Kindly.
Kindly be polite.
But is it not part of the as the what we use as a highway code in terms of when you should blow and when you should blow?
But that's not a violation of the highway code.
Not a violation. In terms of the particular time, 'cause I know they say between 6 and whatever. I can't
9.
remember it all the way.
At night and so on. That's right. It would speak about the honk.
Up to 9 o'clock.
It would speak about it would speak about the honking of the horn. It doesn't speak about don't honk your horn in school zones.
Yeah, it doesn't speak.
And even the highway code is not necessarily the law.
Okay.
The highway code.
You are correct. It's
The
a
highway,
guide.
it's a guide. The highway
guide.
code written is for safe driving and for teaching people to drive and to drive properly. It complements the law.
Okay.
In most cases, the law follows and what the highway code says, and the highway code says or try to enforce what the law would require. They don't contradict each other, but we have to be mindful that the highway code is not the law.
Okay. Okay.
And you have to be mindful of what the law says about specific and particular things, and to understand that if you violate it. I don't know, and somebody could call on the program or correct us afterwards. I don't know that if you tell me do not honk my horn, no honking of horn in this area, that I am violating the law if I do.
Well, I guess sometimes, and you're right in terms of the manner it's presented to you. But for say, if there's let's say for say a daycare in a particular area, and you know maybe they will say between 10 a.m. and whatever because you don't want to disturb the youngsters, especially in the school zone as mentioned.
Right.
But you want it to be presented to you properly.
Yeah.
And that's just your line of defense, right? It should be presented to you properly. Please
Yes.
don't pop it.
So
But maybe I should talk to the school and tell them put the police there.
Yes. In some cases, that's why I think even how we write signs and the messaging that we want to get across, it has to be done properly.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I've seen some signs in the area. They said, please, no parking. What is the operative thing there? No parking.
No parking.
You don't want people to park. So when they start by telling me, please, I'm at the end is no parking. By the time I drive past, I don't even see that.
Can you may just see what you see first?
So because you know it's no
You see
parking,
the first one.
no parking.
No parking.
Because you don't want people to park there. You want to be polite then, see, but no parking, please. So people already they see no parking, and the
Right.
end you shout the police.
Yeah.
Because that's the operative thing. You want people.
So the police should not have come first.
No.
In my opinion, again,
Okay, you're
subject
right.
to something else. But I think the emphasis has to be on the operative, what you would want to be effective. And in some cases, you will have to make the wording palatable enough that people can digest it and understand it. Better that you don't offend the majority of people. But I think in that case where you made that suggestion of no honking of horn, you sound like a bully me into
He's a little bit demandish that you shouldn't, honk your horn
yes.
at all.
And if you come, please, no honking of horn. That, in this sense, still appeal to me a little bit more because it's something that I could do or not do.
Yeah. And someone will be rebellious and still blow their horn for some reason.
Because
can't tell me don't blow my horn. That's what they will be saying. You know, so we think
the program is running very quickly.
Yes, I know, but we're still on the topic of defensive driving.
Yes.
You laid all three already.
We can give some more.
Let's give another two.
We could give some more.
Time permits, we give another two.
It's one of the things that we will hope the law would enforce a little bit more, and that is missiles from vehicles.
Missiles from vehicles.
Yes, what are missiles?
Yes.
You want to tell us some of the missiles, Richard? That
I'm talking about folks who have
bottles will come through the window.
Paper cups.
Yes. Paper cups will come through the window.
Yeah.
What again? Diapers.
Yeah. Yes.
If they do that, they fling them through. And a few things will come through the windows. And so the point I'm making here is that those things are things that we believe should be enforced more stringently.
Yeah.
We should have more lookout people for that. And not just the police. We would find that we'd have good civilians who are conscious enough that they would report these things and they should be followed up by the police. You take the vehicle number from which those things forwarded. Take a picture, forward it to the police station, and then they should be dealt with thereafter. But in the case of safe driving, defensive driving, drivers should look out and anticipate that in our culture, some people will do that. And it's unfortunate. I've driven behind people and vehicles and disgusting me from buses. And I want to
some of the buses, I must say, they should be commended because they have signs in them saying no eating or drinking.
Yes.
Right? So you can't.
And they also sometimes say don't throw it. And they also said nothing, because you may not eat something, but you may still throw something out the window. Some of them do have, and I want to commend them for that, throwing things out through the window.
A few months ago, I was driving behind some visitors to the island.
Yeah.
And they were driving and was having a banana and just threw it out the window like that. You understand? I don't think it's I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm saying maybe it fell out of their hand, but while you driving, just threw it outside. When I look, it was two visitors to the island. You understand?
Yes. So how could that impact road safety?
Because no, the banana, it may not affect you as a driver, but there could be a pedestrian walking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the pedestrian could
walk on it,
slip on it, and where they could go,
slip and fall, and
they could a vehicle,
fall in the road themselves, and you know what can occur there now.
So you, as the defensive driver, you anticipate that these things are likely to happen. Somebody may fling a banana skin or peel out the window. Pedestrian might be walking off to the side, slip on that, slide towards your vehicle. Now, if you anticipate something of that nature that likely to happen, you are vigilant. You'll be prepared to stop.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong in keeping those, well, not missiles, but keeping that garbage in your vehicle.
Yes.
And you get to a safe place.
And then you dispose of it.
Yes. So they become garbage disposed, and they become missiles when they solid, and they can produce some level of damage. So when you have those soft drink bottles and so on that you throw out, some of them still have some soft drink or water in them.
Yes.
They can hit somebody. They can damage someone's windscreen. Mm-hmm. They can create that obstruction that flashes across your windscreen temporarily and could affect or obscure your vision. You can run into something, create some accident. So now, if you, as that defensive conscious driver, would anticipate that people are likely to do that, you'll be anticipating, as you drive behind, in particular, vehicles where people are jolly riders. They're coming from a construction company work or so forth, and them guys go back home, or they go into and they figure I'm in the back of the transport, and they think and they just fling something out. A bus and so on that going around and so forth with visitors or otherwise. Again, you want to be conscious that people are likely to do these things. So there are certain activities that you will observe, and again, it comes on some of the points that we made in the previous program. Be observant and being vigilant. You're now anticipating the action of others that can prevent an accident and help you to be a safer driver on road.
In defensive driving, I think it's something we slipped on. I don't know how if it's going to be relevant to that, but sometimes there are vehicles who have those projecting cargo.
Yes.
And sometimes I know some they say you should have something that should indicate that there's a projecting cargo, maybe a tire, a red something, a red flag, or a red cloth.
That is an aspect of the law. That part of it.
But sometimes we see a lot of folks don't do that, and then we see sometimes vehicles driving rather close behind vehicles who have those projecting cargo that they're carrying.
Yes.
You understand? That's something folks need to look out for also.
But
I've seen from time to time it's happening.
That's one aspect, GT. Some of them put it through their window. So it's projecting on the side of the vehicle.
I saw a
Which
car the other day on
presents-
Facebook, and they had some bamboo through the on both sides.
So that presents a danger now
Can't
to
hire trucks to
pedestrians
carry
or
themselves.
other vehicles.
Yeah. So the both bamboos are longer than the width of the car.
Yeah.
You understand? So he had that, and he's driving like nobody's
Like
business.
nobody, yeah.
And you're making a very strong and very so point in terms of the safety of others on the road with projecting material being transported from one point to the other. It's an aspect of the law that has to be obeyed, that once anything is projecting beyond, before and aft on a vehicle, it should have a red flag or indicating that it is projecting, so that people have to be conscious of it. I know of one situation that somebody told me about where a projectile material not properly secured came through a windscreen and went through somebody in a vehicle. And these are the things that can happen. There are a couple of factors. One, securing of things that are being transported, having very obvious things that people's eyes and attention would catch up to. And the other factor is the persons who are driving behind. You are in control of that wheel. How conscious are you of the action of the person in front of you? Carrying that load.
Maintaining that safe distance for yourself, for yourself also.
Yes. And the other area that hinges onto that is when you're carrying things aggregate like sand and gravel and other things. It is also aspect of the law that within the capacity of those trucks, that load should not exceed the capacity of what it's supposed to carry. It must not pass what is called the rim.
Yes.
And when it has to be also covered. That again is enshrined with.
But why do individuals who go to the particular, of course, company that sells the aggregate permits them to take more than the permitted height of it?
Because they want to sell it. If I selling my stuff, I'm selling it to you. You must ensure that when you transported it,
otherwise we would not be faced with that problem on Marasil.
Okay. Yes.
It's a perennial problem on Marasil with gravel.
Yes. And not just faced with it, but when we faced with things, we continue to emphasize what are we doing about it.
Yeah, but this is nothing new in terms of what we see happening with these things. This has been going on for years. And sometimes we only talk about it in the moment, and then we just let it be.
It's more frequent.
Lots of trucks, they say there's a certain amount that the height is supposed to be uncovered, and we still continue to see trucks driving.
Yeah,
over the capacity in terms of where it's supposed to be.
But
they'll see these concrete trucks. That spill concrete all along the roadside.
But are we seeing it less? Are we monitoring it? What is the statistics showing? Is there a decrease or increase? Because you see, our conversation now may not seem to have immediate effect, but we're sowing seeds for the future. And if we stay silent about it, it means that we are upholding it. If we continue to speak about it, we don't know at the point at which we will make the inroad. But we're seeing, and you know what gives me the confidence to continue what we're doing, is that we're seeing improvement. Even if people are not coming back and say, you said so we do that. But we can see the actions of the conversation that we're having, that things are changing.
I actually mentioned that to someone the other day because I was showing that bridge that takes you across to when you want to go to the Paraclete area. I said, myself and Mr. McIntyre, we spoke about that. And we saw some work done on it.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes, of course.
Because all the rails and stuff was broken. We talk about the also the bus shed on the next side.
We have to beat up down the bus shed again in a GT. Because what they did when we spoke, they removed the thing that was keeping the bus shed down, the wood and so on top. As a matter of fact, it was days after we saw the work, and I spoke to somebody, and actually the workmen who were working, they told us they on the program, all of that. But they were working. But what they did, they prop that. You see, they just prop it up a little bit. It's still shabby, you know. I think we got to beat it up a little bit.
The roof could actually cave in anytime too soon.
It can come in. And
someone mistakenly decided they're moving that piece of thing that is propping in there.
People sitting there to wait for bus. And why can't the business people even in the area, some area, they can't come together and say, let's fix the shit?
We have a caller. Of course, I think before we're not going to take a break again. We're just going to go right through until we wrap the show up, and then I'll take the break after the show. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you, Doc.
Good morning to you, sir.
And good morning to Dr. McIntyre.
Good day, sir. How are you?
And good morning to the other guests. You have not resuscitated your doctor yet. I'll tell you, sir. I too want to give some flowers to the custom people, because I had been clearing stuff for quite a number of years. And I could tell you, that is where you meet some of the nicest people. I've never had any encounter with these people. So I'm giving them not only flowers, but I'm giving them some stars. Yeah, and with respect to the road and the standard that we have, yes, I want to concur with that. We need to have better supervision, overall supervision. Yeah, we know our planning thing is bad, and we know what management at least is on the downside too. Leadership is on the downside. But even the workmen must have some pride. I remember I having to go down in the drain after the work was completed and knock out some concrete, concrete nails from the side of the drain. Now, if somebody go down the drain and they just rub their foot to cut them, and I knock off a good few of those things. The standard, we must have pride in when we're doing work. It must be in such a way where people will stand up and put their hand on their waist and admire it. Too much sharp edges, too much unfinished work, and we must address those. Even some of our buildings, this VUP, one style all the time, and sometimes the finished product is not up to standard. It's not being admired. We need to get past those things. That when you complete a building, especially the roadside, people must stand up and look at it. When you go to Europe, you don't see those things. You see complete buildings, impressive buildings. Why can't we do that here? So our supervision, our leadership have to step up and have to step up fast. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, caller. Thank you all.
Great on point.
Yep.
Love this caller's contribution.
Didn't make a whole lot of sense there.
Yes,
didn't make a whole lot of sense. We do have another caller. Let's see this caller's contribution. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
So, as far as I'm concerned, I think that the vehicles have a certain tonnage, whether it be kilograms or pounds, they have to carry. And the height of the load does not determine the weight that is supposed to be carried. In fact, all vehicles are in tonnage or 100 weights or whatever it is. And consequently, you could carry a small quantity of load and yet exceed the weight what the vehicle should carry. And then you are likely to cause inconvenience for the stoppage of the vehicle as well as the maneuvering of the vehicle itself. Because once the weight exceeds what is the vehicle supposed or must carry, that means to say to carry less, but not much more. So then you, as they would say, compromising the people on the road, whether it be drivers, whether it be vehicles, whether it be pedestrians, whether it be building, because you could run off the road because of the excessive weight. And this is the important thing. It's not the height. Yes, the height is very important too, because the height could determine you being able to pass through a bridge. As for example, I'm asking myself, even on the tunnel, which is the right way to walk? As I know, you must always face the oncoming traffic. In other words, so that if something is coming towards you, you would need to jump on the side or jump up or jump sideways or on top. So there are rules. There are made rules, written rules and there are unwritten rules. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution this morning. Appreciate it a whole lot. And so back in, of course, we have about 3 more minutes left on today's edition. We do have another caller. Let's see what this caller has to contribute. Caller, you're live. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning to you, to gentlemen, and Mr. Telesford.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
What I'm going to speak about may not be specifically what you are referring to at this point, but I know that the emphasis this morning is about preventing accidents, sort of preventative mode. And I'm observing something. I drove up St. David a week ago. When you go up that Tabor area, that hill there, that hillside, I don't know if the current administration, they hired back the same people who worked previously, but it seems that the more things change, the more they remain the same. That area was left bare, for want of a better word, some years ago. And I remember after a heavy downpour, I think there was a count of 102 landslides in that parish alone. And most of it were attributed to the hillsides that were left bare, and the lands keep coming down. And it's one thing to clear the roadway and the overhangings, but when you go up on those hills and you cut everything, and it looks as though they've been cutting the roots too. I mean, we're setting ourselves up for tragedies on our roads. I mean, you could be driving, the whole hillside could come down. People will, of course, lose their property, and which if people lose their property, they should sue the government. Because if you clear up the edge and you go into my place and you cut, and then my land ended up being lost as a result of that, I think I should have some recourse in the court. But why are we doing those things again? I thought it had stopped, but it seems that it is returning, and it's dry season, so I guess we're not going to see the negative impacts of it. But no sooner the rains return, we'll be in for the 100+ landslides per parish, as we saw before. And to me, it is a safety concern, it's a traffic concern, and I don't know who is hearing this, but we need to stop this practice. We need to stop it. Thank you very much for hearing.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Appreciate your contribution.
Thank you, because I think we mentioned this slightly last week on our program. It has gone beyond the bush into deforesting. Deforestation is taking place on our roadsides, and I don't think enough attention is given to that aspect, and he's absolutely on point in terms of the contributing factors to some of the landslides and soil erosions that we're seeing in some places. We really have to be more mindful of it, to be honest.
All right. We have another caller, which will be our final caller for the morning. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen. Morning, everybody. How was all the weekend?
Good. It was good.
The man is pretty okay. Now, if you leave the public works department, gentlemen, with a trucker mix to go and repair roads, will you repair the good roads and leave out the whole roads? I'll truck live with goods to go and repair the road with mix. Bad road first, good road first. Which one will you repair?
I would say the bad roads.
The bad roads. In Park yesterday, they came and walk in Park yesterday with good roads, and they got all the road on top, all in top of Springs and Belmont. I showed them go there and repair. They put out other height mix above the road, good already. I find that a real waste of material. No, all the praise the custom department a while ago for the works that they do and whatnot. But you have to give praise and flowers to the dock workers who work in all in the morning, who let the cargo come down from the ship and the custom do afterwards. Because when the custom home sleeping, the workers working until morning time, No custom will be sometimes. So praise give the flowers to the dock workers the same way to us. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we regret if people did not understand when we spoke about Port Authority, Customs and Port Authority in general, that dock workers were included. But if you understand
specific on the dock,
then
mention them specifically.
But yes, we have to
because they fall under the Port Authority.
Port Authority,
yeah.
And they do a tremendous job in keeping the commerce on the port going.
Yes.
All right, Mr. McIntyre, Mr. McPhail, we come to that stage of the morning when we're going to take a wrap for today's edition. Of course, it's always a pleasure, as always, to have you both and on the program. And of course, we hope that folks who are listening, of course, in terms of our conversation on defensive driving, of course, I hope this conversation that we have will help you to be a better driver on our nation's roads.
And for today's takeaway, we want you to go with anticipate the actions of others so that you can be a good and defensive driver.
Yeah. As you would say, drive for you and
drive for you and other people.
Drive for you.
There's nothing wrong in that.
Nothing wrong in saying that. No. You know, you drive for yourself, but you have to look out for the other road users also.
Yes.
Gentlemen, thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best. Hey, listeners, viewers, that's how we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Join me again tomorrow for another. And until then, have a good one. Say goodbye.